bracket analysis. It is going to be a 3-dimensional analysis, and this is the shelf bracket, steel, mild steel shelf bracket. Okay, we'll try to model it somewhat in this dimension. This is just a general shelf bracket that we get. Okay, so on top of that you will be having some loading, and this end will be fixed against the wall. Okay, so the aim here is to learn how to model a 3-dimensional geometry. Okay, it is not that complex. Okay, we can have more complex geometries than this, but we will try to model this geometry, then we will mesh the geometry, and then we will carry out the 3-dimensional analysis selecting a 3-dimensional element. Okay, so let's get started. First 4 steps we will carry out. Clear and start new. Then change the job name to shelf bracket. Change the directory as well to the specified directory. And we will give the title shelf bracket analysis. Okay, preferences we will give structural. Okay, we will select a 3-dimensional element. Okay, just to be on the safer side. Okay, just to be on the safer side. Okay, we can go ahead with, let's say, brick 8 node or tetrahedron 4 node, or we'll go ahead with, yes, a tetrahedron 4 node. Okay, just to be on safer side. Tetrahedron 4 node has triangular areas everywhere. Okay, 4 triangular areas connected with 4 nodes. Okay, so when we try to mesh, okay, it will give us less number of nodes. Now remember, this is a student version that we are using, so student version has a limitation over how many nodes we can create, how many elements we can create. So just to be within that limit, okay, we'll go ahead with tetrahedron element. Okay, we can of course go ahead with brick element. Okay, but let us do it with tetrahedron first, so that we don't fall out of the number of elements category. So I'll say okay, solid 285, that is the 4 node tetrahedron element. It's a 3-dimensional element. Material properties are going to be simple: structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. Okay, 2E5 is the Young's modulus and 0.3 is the Poisson's ratio. Now we'll go to modeling. Now this is interesting. We will create it in such a way that, okay, we'll be using this XY plane only, global Cartesian coordinate system only. Okay, and then we will be exploring some of the Boolean operations and some more extrude operations. So let's get started. We'll follow the same procedure, key points. Okay, now the one thing is, okay, it is okay if we are not giving here key point number. Okay, it sometimes may be tedious to keep the track of key point number if we have to create so many key point numbers. So you can leave this field blank. The software keeps the counter and starts key point numbering from 1. Okay, so that is one thing. So if I don't write anything over here, okay, it is taken as 0 0 0. Okay, it is taken as 0 0 0. So if I just click on apply, okay, it creates the first key point. Okay, it creates the first key point. Okay, then I will write here 490. Okay, y I will keep it as blank, or I can also write as 0, and z I will take as minus 15. Okay, z I will take as minus 15. So I'll say apply. Okay, Okay, then y I will take as minus 30. I will apply. Okay, then 30 comma minus 30 I will apply. Then 30 comma minus 490 I will apply, and 0 comma minus 490 I will apply. Then I will say cancel. So as you can see, we have created 6 key points, and without actually writing the key point number over there, it gave us 6 key points in row. Okay, so software is very smart. Now the next thing is we'll join them by lines. So in active coordinates, I'll join them sequentially from key point number 1 to key point number 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5, from 5 to 6, and from 6 to 1. Okay, remember this is xy plane. Okay, remember this is xy plane. So if you remember, everywhere we have given minus 15 as the z coordinate value for each and every point. Okay, for each and every point we have given minus 15 as the value. Okay, I think we have made a mistake over here. Okay, if you remember, okay, I can just change the orientation. Okay, remember the first point which we selected was origin point, which is at 0 0 0. Okay, so ideally we don't want a point at 0 0 0, whereas we want point at 0 0 minus 15. So what we will do, we will change that. So instead of create, I'll go to delete. Okay, lines only I will say. These two lines I will delete first. Okay, then I will also delete this origin key point. Okay, and then I'll again come to the front view orientation, and I'll create another key point in active CS, which is at 0 0 minus 15, and then I'll say cancel. So now I have 7 key points again, 6 key points again. So now I will join those remaining 2 lines. Okay, so this line and this line, and this line and this line. Okay, I'll say okay, and I'll say plot multiplot. So now we have everything. If I go to this view, now as you can see, it is in the same plane z minus 50. Okay, it is in the same plane z minus 50. Okay, now back to the front view, fit view. Okay, I will join these lines to create area. So I'll go to area, I'll say arbitrary by lines, and I'll select all the lines. So this line, this line, this line, and I'll say okay. See, area got created. Okay, now we have to extrude this area. So extrude operation is available in operate. Okay, modeling, operate. So go to operate, extrude. What we need to extrude? Areas. So areas and along normal. Now along normal is along z direction. Okay, so and the by default direction is positive z direction. Okay, positive z direction. So positive z direction is coming towards us. Okay, coming out of the plane. So I'll select this, say okay, and here I have to give the distance, length of extrusion. So if I give positive value, it will go in positive z direction. If I give negative value, it will go into the negative z direction. So it will go inside the plane. Now positive z direction will extrude this area out of the plane. So I'll give 30. Okay, I'll give 30 as the extrude dimension, and I'll say okay. Okay, now what has happened? The area got extruded. How to confirm? We'll go to isometric view, and as you can see, the area got extruded. Okay, if we go to the right view, okay, if we go to the right view, as you can see, the area got extruded. Okay, now the next thing is we need to create this particular connection. Okay, this particular connection, and let us keep the dimensions slightly smaller. So in the middle of this plane we will try to create the next set of area. Okay, next set of area. So it will go like this. So I'll just go back to the front view, go back to the key points. Okay, in ActiveCS. Okay, now the Z dimension I'll have to change to -20. Okay, this will be 350, and Y is going to be -30. Okay, Y is going to be -30, and I'll say apply. Okay, then this will be 380 -30, apply. As you can see, key points are getting created over here. Okay, and we want some key points to create over here as well, so that is what we will do. So then it is going to be 30 here, and -350, -20 will remain same. So my key point got created over here, and 30 will remain same, and 380, and then I'll say apply, and I'll say cancel. Now if I just switch to isometric view, I'll go to multi-plots and try to see where these key points got created. So as you can see, key points got created inside this. Okay, inside this. So what we have done, we have left 5 mm from the edge and created key points inside. Okay, created key points inside. The idea is, as you can see, okay, generally the connector, okay, that is the angled member, is in smaller dimensions as compared to the original bracket. Okay, so that is the idea, nothing else. Okay, so we'll join them by lines. We will join them by lines. We'll go back to the front view. Okay, it's easy for us to work in this front view. So this, so we have joined them by lines, and let us convert it into area first by lines. So I have this line, this line, this line, and this line. So I'll say okay. Now if we go back to the isometric view, the idea which I was saying will be more clear. As you can see over here, see, the area got created inside. Okay, area got created inside. So now we just have to extrude this area. Okay, now we have to extrude this area. So again we'll go to operate, extrude along normal. I'll say select this area, and I'll extrude by the distance 20. Okay, I'll extrude by distance 20. So again it will be 5 mm from the other side as well. So when I say okay, okay, it got extruded by distance 20, and as you can see, it is well within the geometry. See, from everywhere it is well within the geometry. So if I say right view, see, the newly created area fits inside the geometry. That is what we wanted. Okay, so as far as the entire 3-dimensional geometry is concerned, okay, we have created the geometry. Now the next step over here is to give the discretization parameters. So we'll go to meshing. Okay, discretization parameters it is possible also to give from the mesh tool. Okay, so we'll open this mesh tool. We'll say smart size, and we'll say coarse. Okay, smart size, and we will say coarse. Okay, or slightly one level less than coarse. Okay, what we need to do, okay, now once we say smart size from here, okay, we don't have to give manual size control values. So let's say it is okay if you don't execute these options, because the smart size option for a global discretization parameter is on. Okay, so you can change this. Okay, the default attributes you can change, okay, element attributes, but since here we don't have any attributes apart from say element type, which is also one, and material is also one, so this is of no use right now. So we can directly mesh the volume elements, say with the help of tetrahedrons, and it is going to be a free method. So I'll say mesh, and then I'll select volume. Now I have two volumes. Okay, so before we actually apply this, since we have two volumes, okay, we'll slightly close this first. Okay, we first have to carry out a boolean operation. Okay, so that we will find in operate booleans, and we'll carry out a boolean operation called as glue. Okay, remember, okay, this particular connector, the angled member, is welded with the brackets. Okay, so it has some relation with the bracket, it has established. So just to give that relation, okay, the boolean operation glue will be helpful for us. So we'll use that boolean operation glue. Volumes, we'll select this volume and this volume and say okay. Now these two volumes are glued to each other. Okay, and now we can carry out the this particular meshing activity. So we'll go to mesh tool, smart size 9 we have specified. Okay, and then we will try to mesh this volume. So now glue will keep the identity for volume elements, so there will be still two volume elements, okay, but they will have a relationship between them. Okay, that is more important. So just as the welding does, okay, the two members are still in having their separate entities, but now they are connected. Okay, that is the thing. So I'll select both and I'll say okay. It can take some time. Okay, depending on the coarseness we have specified over here. If we are towards the left hand, which is the fine size, okay, then it will take more and more time. Okay, so that is fine. Okay, as far as the sample problem is concerned, this particular mesh is fine. So I'll close this mesh tool. Okay, these are tetrahedron elements. Okay, so triangular faces it has. Okay, and it's a tetrahedron, 4 noded tetrahedron. Now we will go to the solution. Analysis type again will keep as static structural. Define loads. We first have to define, let's say, the opposite edge. This particular edge, okay, will be fixed. Okay, will be fixed against the wall. Okay, against the wall, and we will have some load applied, okay, on the entire area, okay, which will be in contact with the shelf, okay, which will be kept on this. Okay, so that is the idea. So what we will do, apply structural displacement. Now displacement to be defined on areas. Okay, and when we try to select the area, okay, you have to be very sure which area you are selecting. This is the back area. Okay, this is the back area which I am selecting, which goes against the wall. Okay, this rests against the wall and it doesn't move, so we are going to fix the entire area. So I'll say okay. All DOF I have to fix to 0. Okay, all DOF I have to fix to 0. So that's what I did, and then I will again rotate this, and now on this top area I have to apply force, or I would apply pressure. See, force I cannot apply on area, force I can apply on key point or node. Okay, so if I have to create the effect of pressure, I have to apply pressure. So there is pressure and pressure on areas. I select this top area, and pressure value I will give. Now remember, this unit is going to be Newton per millimeter square. Okay, Newton per millimeter square. So when I say 5 or 10, okay, 5 or 10, so it actually means 5 Newton per millimeter square. Okay, and it actually means 5 into 10 raised to minus 6 Newton per meter square. Okay, so when we consider it over a larger scale, okay, the value you will feel is slightly decreasing, but on a smaller area, okay, on a smaller area, unit area, the value is quite large. So we'll select 10 Newton per millimeter square value. Okay, 10 Newton per millimeter square value. I'll say okay. So area or the pressure got applied. Okay, and now we are in a position to solve this. So I'll say okay. It can take some time. Okay, it happened, but if we have some more elements, it can take some more time to give the results as well. So solution is done. I'll close this. Okay, and I will try to view the results. So general post processor, I'll go to plot results, contour plot, nodal solution, in that DOF solution and displacement vector sum. So as you can see, okay, what is the deflection values that we are getting? Okay, the whole structure is deflecting by, let's say, 1.50975 millimeters. So the maximum deflection is at the free end of that bracket. Okay, and this particular member which we have created is adequately supporting the bracket. Had this member not been there, okay, deflection would be of greater value. Okay, and it is providing strength, and as you can see, that is why the deflection moves, okay, only on the corner. So same can be viewed. Let's see whether stress values are available. Yeah, the stress values are available. As you can see, the maximum stress, okay, the one which is giving us the maximum deformation will be least stressed. Okay, and the one who is actually supporting the structure, as you can see, the entire slanting member is stressed because that is what supporting the structure. Okay, so it's a good kind of analysis to have. You can also animate these results. So you can go to results viewer, you can say DOF solution, displacement vector sum, and you can say animate results. And in animate results, you can go to deformed results. Okay, deformed results, and keep these same, okay, default values, and just say okay. And that is how it is deforming. Remember, this is a deformation plot. This is a deformation plot. So that is how it is deforming. You can increase the speed or decrease the speed. Okay, so you can also see other results. So let's say stress, and say von Mises stress. Okay, and deformed results. So here I will select stress and von Mises and say okay. So now it is showing the von Mises stress. As you can see, this slanting member is heavily stressed, and wherever the connections are. Okay, now why it is able to transfer the properties? Because we glued these two volumes together, so just it creates an effect of a welding. Okay, so I think the idea is clear. Close the results viewer, and you can get some other, say, list results, nodal solution. So node wise you can get the displacement value. how many total nodes we have? Almost 232 nodes we have, and all the UX UI user values also we get. So as far as the analysis is concerned, okay, this is what the three-dimensional bracket shelf bracket analysis is. Okay, there will be some more analysis coming up in the coming days. Okay, so stay tuned. Thank you.